Okay, here I am with a recap from Euro USD from Friday's New York session. And here's the 15-minute markup. I have made only 15-minute and 5-minute markup because the 4-hour has been broken down in the weekend forecast that has been posted by Marcel a day ago, so on Thursday. And here we are on the 15-minute on Euro USD. As you can see, there was the previous swing breakout structure, and price couldn't manage to return reverse on the last recent supply area. Instead of that, price has just mitigated the higher supply area, this weak area right here. And after the zone mitigation, price has started to form a bearish order flow. There was the last recent flip on this 15-minute demand area. This 15-minute demand caused the flip beforehand on this supply area. And as you can see, price has just flipped it once again. And after this flip, technically we could expect short continuations, expect a new swing breakout structure. I was expecting a new confirmation entry on the last recent 15-minute supply area that has caused the breakout structure at this point, but it had a chance to become part of this liquidity because it has been built up for this supply area right here, which has been refined on the 5-minute time frame, I believe. So this was the 50-minute supply that has caused the flip at this point, and this was a 5-minute supply area where we could expect confirmation entry. However, if this higher supply area flipped, then I would execute longs targeting this higher 5-minute supply area because this zone's 50% mitigation has been mitigated already, and technically everything was just liquidity. Everything would be liquidity right here for this 5-minute supply area right here. Or we had another possible scenario, which was the new swing breakout structure on the 50-minute time frame. If it happened, then we could execute sells based on higher time frame zone mitigations. So yeah, technically that's all on the 15-minute time frame. Let's take a look on the 5-minute. On the 5-minute time frame, technically we can identify a 5-minute supply zone mitigation that has caused technically a 5-minute change of character at this point, because there was the breakout structure. 5-minute has changed character here to the upside, made a new breakout structure, but after this breakout structure, 5-minute has just changed the character back to the downside, and technically price has just reacted on this 5-minute supply area and couldn't really manage to mitigate the 15-minute supply that has caused the breakout structure at this point. So yeah, in this case, I would wait for liquidity creation for this 15-minute supply, but I would still wait for confirmation entry on it, confirmation entry on the 5-minute supply at this point. As you can see, I have refined it on the 5-minute time frame because it was part of a 15-minute supply. Or a flip happened, then I would execute longs targeting this liquidity pool right here, probably. And if a swing breakout structure happened to the downside, then I would mark out newly formed 5/15-minute supply areas, and I would execute sells if a confirmation happened, because price was in a really nice and really clear bearish order flow on the 15-minute time frame. Just look at this really nice bearish order flow to the downside, creating swing breakout structures to the downside over and over again. So why would I not execute sells if a confirmation entry showed up any of these supply areas? So yeah, as you can see, the new swing breakout structure happened to the downside. At this point, price left behind a newly formed 15-minute supply area just after the session start. So here is the first candle of the session. This was the first candle of the session that I have used as a 15-minute supply area. And in the next 1 hour, as you can see, price has made a swing breakout structure in the 15-minute time frame, left behind this newly formed supply area that has caused and printed really nice volume candle, which has caused the swing breakout structure, and price returned back to this 15-minute supply area. After swing breakout structures, technically we can expect a bigger pullback to the upside up to this some extreme areas, for example this one. And technically this is what happened in this session. Unfortunately, price did not manage to mitigate this supply, but if a confirmation showed up any of these supply areas, then I would execute a sell trade. And this is what happened. Price has just confirmed the last recent supply area. On the 5-minute time frame, we can identify a really nice and clear 5-minute refinement, which has caused this whole bearish movement to the downside. And on the 1-minute time frame, technically, we had all the needed criteria. So let me count the criteria for this entry opportunity. This was the higher time frame zone mitigation, 5-minute or 15-minute supply zone mitigation. This is the first one. The second one was liquidity trade. Look at these perfect double taps just above the 5-minute/15-minute supply area. This is the first touch. This is the second touch. Price reversed after the full zone mitigation, wigged above it, and after the wick above, price has just changed character to the downside because there was the new breakout structure with this movement. Change of character happened. Also, price has broken this low point too, but a simple change of character would be enough, and I didn't mean to mark out this strong change of character right here, but a simple change of character would be perfectly enough because we were in an extremely clear pro trend pro order flow on the 15-minute time frame. So yeah, the third one was inefficiency. This is the volume candle that I want to see if if an entry opportunity shows up. This is a really nice volume candle which has caused the change of character to the downside. There was the last recent breakout structure. This is the low point. Price has just broken below it, so change of character happened. So inefficiency was there. Pro trend criteria, it's extremely clear. It was much clearer than it was on GU in the previous recap. So pro trend criteria is extremely clear. I have just shown you that price has just broken swing lows over and over again. So yeah, we have all the 4 base criteria that we need in order to count the variable ones. The first one was the change of character. I did count the V-shaped recovery too after the liquidity sweeping movement. So there was the liquidity sweep. Price reacted pretty nice and with really nice volume candles after the liquidity sweeping movement. So this was my 5th criteria. Actually, the V-shape was my 6th criteria. We had 50% zone mitigation. Just look at this one. 5-minute candle closed inside of the 5-minute zone too, and also the 15-minute candle closed inside of the 15-minute zone and inside even in the 5-minute zone too. So it was a literally perfect liquidity sweep of these double tops right here. Yeah, there was corrective pullback, strong pro movements. The bearish movements were clearly stronger than the bullish ones, even on the 15-minute time frame, even on the 1-minute time frame. So this was my 9 criteria. The combined liquidation was missing. I did not count it, but technically there was some liquidity with this high and this high. There was some liquidity, but I did not count the combined liquidation in this case. And at this point, price wasn't coming from any opposite sided zone. It has reacted on its 5-minute subdemand, so there is no doubt about it. It reacted on this 5-minute candle, but at this point, technically, this 5-minute demand, 5-minute subdemand only caused the liquidity sweep. It couldn't manage to break any supply area at this point, so it wasn't even a demand, but it has caused a volume candle to the upside. So yeah, I did not count this one as a demand mitigation, so this was my 9th criteria. And there was one missing criteria. Actually, the only missing criteria was the combined liquidation. So I had 10 criteria for this entry opportunity. And as you can see, it turned out as a stop loss hit. Price has swept me out with a single candle, but it's perfectly fine. The reason why price swept us out, because technically there was liquidity right here, as you can see, which has to be swept out in order to reverse the price. And also there was some liquidity on the upside, and this liquidity sweep just wasn't enough for the price in order to reverse to the downside. So yeah, and also technically this was liquidity target to the downside. I have forget to mention it, but it's perfectly fine. I had 10 criteria for this entry opportunity. Unfortunately, it turned out as a stop loss hit, but it was a literally perfect entry opportunity that I want to execute every single day, every single time and I really don't care. I really didn't care what the outcome will be in this case. So yeah, it was a perfect tank criteria entry opportunity. Unfortunately, turned out as a stop loss hit. So in overall, my Friday's results was a no tag, one no tag, and one stop loss hit. Technically, the no tag was 6.2 risk reward ratio. Unfortunately, it was a no tag on my MT4, but plan perfectly played out, and I had a stop loss hit on EU in New York session, but it's perfectly fine. And after this entry opportunity right here, which has happened almost exactly at the halfway of the session, price has created more liquidity right here for this extreme zone, which has caused the flip of this 5-minute, 15-minute demand at this point. And after the liquidity sweep, technically price has broken above this supply area, but couldn't manage to mitigate this higher supply. And I was expecting either mitigation of this supply or a break of this 5-minute demand that has initiated and caused the break of this 15-minute supply up here. And neither of these happened, and session has just closed right here. And yeah, technically that's all, guys. This is what happened on Friday. These were the trades that I executed, and yeah, that's all. Take care, and see you guys on Monday. Yeah, take care.